Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm bringing you my priority reads for 2022. So in December of 2021, I did two separate projects. I did a manga advent calendar project where I had my daughter pull some tags from my Grell jar, which is a jar that includes several of the manga titles that I have on my shelves that I have either not started or haven't continued. And then I did a random number generator project for books to read in 2022 from my want to read list on Goodreads. Now, my want to read list on Goodreads is rather large. It does not include just books that I have on my shelves. It includes anything that I have found interest in since I've been on Goodreads. So that's why it's so large. So I wanted to obviously get to some of those and get to a lot of the manga that I have on my shelves as well. So that's why I did those two projects. Now, I had intended on reading the manga that I pulled from my manga advent calendar project in December, but that did not happen. I read some, but not most. And so I decided to just carry those over to priority reads for 2022 and then include the books that I had pulled via random number generator on every other day. So that is this stack right here. You can see it is rather large, but that is because a lot of the manga that I pulled have several volumes in them. So I thought I'd share these titles with you. And yeah, this is just another one of those lists that I am putting together to help me with my reading in case at any time during 2022, I feel like I don't know what I want to read. I can refer to these lists that I'm putting together so that I'm not ever not reading, because that is something that has happened. So I'm thinking these lists will help me when those times come during the year. And so, yeah, so I'm excited to share all of these with you. I do have to say, though, that there are a couple titles that I pulled on my random number generator days that I do not actually own, so I will have to borrow these titles from my library. And so let's get to those first before we tackle this stack. So first up is Blue Bloods, which is the first book in the Blue Bloods series by Melissa Dela Cruz. I have wanted to read this one for a while. This is a vampire YA novel, and that is all I know about it. I thought I had one of these, or this particular one, on my shelf, because I do have others in this series on my shelf, but apparently I don't. At least I can't find it if I do, and it's not listed as one that I purchased. So, yeah, I'm excited to get to that one. You will see that vampires is a running theme for me in 2022. I really enjoy vampire novels, and I've kind of gotten away from that over the last couple years, and so I want to really get back into it. It just so happens that these random number generators and like random things have just pulled a lot of vampire books for me to read, so maybe the universe is trying to tell me something, but I'm excited to get into that. The second book that I'm going to have to borrow from the library is going to be Second Sight, the first book in the Arcane Society by Amanda Quick. This one is one that I know I put on my to-read list a very long time ago. I had gotten a book day-to-day calendar from my mom for Christmas one year, and every day there was a book recommendation. And so those books, anything that I thought sounded interesting, went on to my Goodreads list, and this is one of them. I believe this is a romance novel, because I believe Amanda Quick is also Jane Ann Krantz. This one does have tags for paranormal, because I believe some of the people in the Arcane Society have abilities. Don't quote me on that. I don't know much about this one, but I did find interest in it when it came up on that recommendation day. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what I think. My mom has not read this one, but I know she's read a lot of Jane Ann Krantz's novels over the years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of that one. The next book is Spellbooked, which is the first book in the Retired Witches Mystery series by Jim and Joyce Levine. I apparently have a copy of this somewhere in my house. It is not with my Cozy Mysteries, but I did recently redo my shelves and move a lot of things around, so I'm not as familiar with where things are as I should be. If I can't find it, I will purchase another copy. But this is the Cozy Mystery series about retired witches, I think. And that's really all I needed to know. Cozy Mysteries are kind of my thing, and so I'm looking forward to that. Notice that these 3 books are all first in the series, so that's good because I'm getting to some of the series that I've been meaning to read for a while, but it's bad because I'm going to have to start some series. But that's okay. That's okay. The last one that I'm going to have to borrow from my library is While My Pretty One Sleeps by Mary Higgins Clark. This is a thriller, I believe, or a mystery about a serial killer. My mom read a lot of Mary Higgins Clark's books when I was growing up. I looked through her collection of Mary Higgins Clark's books thinking that she would have a copy of this one because I do hear about this one rather often. From like other booktubers and things, but I don't have it, or she doesn't have it in her collection. She has a lot of others, but not this one, and even she was surprised that she didn't have a copy of this one. But it's readily available at my library. I'm looking forward to getting into Mary Higgins Clark's works because she's been an author that I've been meaning to read from for a while and just haven't. And so, yeah, that is the last of the books that I'm going to need to borrow from my library. They're all readily available, and so I don't think there's going to be any issue. I just need to get them read. So now let's tackle this stack right here. So they are not in any particular order. They are either part of the Manga Advent Calendar project that I didn't get to in December, or they're a random number generator pick from December. And yeah, so I went through all of these during my Vlogmas videos. So in case you watch those videos, you will know what all of these titles are. But let's just start here at the top. You can see that it is moving very precariously because the table that I have it on is not very sturdy, but it is what it is. So right off the top here is Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune. This is by Roselle Lim. This, I believe, is about a woman who comes back to her hometown after her mom passes to kind of set her affairs in order, and finds out that she inherits her grandmother's Chinese restaurant as well. And so she kind of has to deal with that, and it talks about how the food kind of brings the community together or something. It's got some magical elements in it. I know that when I had originally heard about this one, it sounded very interesting, and that it being about Chinese people was also interesting to me as well. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what I think about this. Obviously, I thought it was interesting enough that I purchased a copy, and so yes, I definitely need to get it read. Next up is the second book in the Last Vampire series by Christopher Pike. This is Black Blood, and so I read the first book in this series in 2021 with my friend Raul over at Latin Lector. And this one wasn't as enjoyable as I had hoped it was going to be, but I do have the entire series, so I definitely want to continue. I'm hoping this one is different from the first one because I don't think we're going to be dealing with our main character's past, because I believe that was taken care of in the first book. But yes, this has been a series that I've been meaning to get to for a very, very long time, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this one entails. Next up, I've got Three Dark Crowns by Kendar Blake. This is the first book in the Three Dark Crowns series. This one follows the 3 princesses who end up having to fight each other, I believe, to the death to become queen. And so that's all I know about it. It's heavily talked about on BookTube, and so I'm looking forward to getting into that one again. Another one that I obviously found interesting enough to pick up a copy. Next up, I have Claws of the Cat, the first book in the Shinobi Mystery series by Susan Spahn. This one is about a shinobi who meets a Jesuit priest, I believe, a Portuguese Jesuit, and they go and investigate the murder of a samurai. I had picked this one up from Book Outlet along with a couple of the other sequels. It's definitely interesting to me because of the Japanese aspect to it, but I'm a little bit wary about reading this one and what I'll think, because it is a story about Japanese history as told by a white woman. This woman is an American. She was born in America. She, however, now lives in Japan and has studied Japanese history. Nonetheless, I am still interested to see what I think, especially because it deals with Japanese history and it's something that I've been wanting to delve into for a while. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I think about this one. Next up is one that I purchased in December because I'm pretty sure that I'm really going to enjoy this series, and it is The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. This is the first book in the Blood of Eden series. This is a vampire dystopian novel, and that is all I need to know. I have read parts of two of Julie Kagawa's other series, the Talon series, which is about dragon shapeshifters, and the Iron King series, which is kind of a labyrinth retelling, or at least that's how it was pitched to me when the first book came out. And so, yes, both of those series I need to finish, but I will be delving into this one as well. I did, in fact, pick up the other two books in this series in December as well, so I do have the entire thing. I'm really looking forward to getting into more of Julie Kagawa's work. The next thing I have looks like manga, yes. So this is Full Moon Osagashite by Arina Tanemura. This is a 7-volume manga series published by Viz Rated Teen about a girl who has throat cancer, but she doesn't want to do anything but sing and can't because of her condition. And then it says that she is visited by 2 harbingers of death, is what it says. This has been a series that I've been wanting to read for a while. I do have all 7 volumes, so I do intend on reading the entire series sometime in 2022. Arina Tanemura is one of my favorite mangakas. I absolutely adore her art style. The reason why I haven't read this one is because it deals with cancer, and I'm assuming that by the end of this, there's going to be sad happenings. And so I felt like I really needed to be in the right headspace in order to read it. But I, nonetheless, am looking forward to getting into this one. I'm finally getting this series read. And so, yes, I will be reading the entirety of Full Moon Osagashite. More manga. So I have Volume 1 of The Ancient Magus' Bride by Kore Yamazaki. This one's published by 7 Seas and is rated teen. This one follows an orphan who gets adopted by a non-human magus. And she begins to become his apprentice. It says bride, so I'm not quite sure what that all entails. But this is a pretty beloved series among the manga tubers that I watch. And so I have watched 1 episode of this anime. It didn't really grab me, but it could have just been that I wasn't in the right mood for that kind of story. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I think. I do have 12 volumes of this series so far on my shelf. I believe it is still ongoing, but heading towards the finale. And so, yeah, I will read at least the first volume of this series this year, if not more. So I'm looking forward to getting into that one. I have another entire series that I will be reading of manga in 2022, and that is Millennium Snow by Bisco Hattori. This one is published by Viz and is rated teen. This is another vampire story where we have a vampire who doesn't want to drink human blood and a girl who she has a heart problem. And so I believe they end up having some kind of relationship. And so, again, another series that I've been meaning to read for a while. I really enjoyed Bisco Hattori's Oran High School Host Club, which we read for my manga club. I've watched that anime several times as well, and I have been collecting other series by this mangaka. So I'm looking forward to getting into this one again. We're talking vampires. It's the year of vampires for me. And so I will be reading the entirety of that series sometime in 2022. Speaking of vampires, we've got another vampire title, and that is Set Off of the End Vampire Reign. Story by Takaya Kagami, art by Yamamoto, storyboards by Daisuke Furuya. This one's published by Viz and is rated older teen. This one, again, vampires and a war with humans. And I have watched, I think, 4 episodes of the anime. Again, this is one that I just wasn't gravitating towards. When I was watching it, it didn't pull me in. My daughter really loves this series, though, and so I'm looking forward to retrying the series. It has been a couple years since I watched the anime, and hopefully this story will grab me now. This is a pretty long series. I believe we're in the 20s volumes right now, but yeah, it's one that I'm hoping will grab me when I read it. I will be reading at least 2 volumes of this series, though we have all of the volumes that are currently out, because like I said, it's one that my daughter really, really enjoys. Next up, I have another full manga series. This is The Knockout Makers by Kyoko Hashimoto. This one's published by Tokyo Pop and is rated teen. This one follows a group of guys who accept commissions and requests to make your average girl a totally hot knockout. And so I picked all of these up used from Book Off, and I am really looking forward to getting into it. It says it's a romance comedy, so yeah, I'm in the mood for a little bit of romance comedy, and yeah, I am looking forward to finally getting this one read. It is a very short series at 3 volumes, and so yes, it would be nice to complete another series in 2022, because that's definitely something that I want to do as well, is work on completing series, continuing series. I'm obviously starting a lot of series just in this stack, but that's okay. Next up, I have 2 volumes of Yamada-kun and the 7 Witches. This one's by Miki Yoshikawa, published by Kodansha and rated older teen. This is a body swapping, magical kind of manga, and it's one that I've been interested in for a while but have been very hesitant to read because I believe there's going to be some fan service-y moments in here, and I'm really not into fan service, especially when it doesn't help the storyline any and it's just there to be fan service. So yes, I will finally be starting this one. I do have several volumes of it on my shelves just because when I purchased it in a bundle, because obviously when you purchase in a bundle, it's a lot cheaper. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what I think about this one and whether or not I will be continuing and keeping all of those volumes on my shelves. Next up, I have another full series, and that is BL Metamorphosis. This one is by Kaori Tsurutani, published by 7 Seas and rated teen. This series follows a young woman and an elderly woman who end up having a friendship over their love of boys love manga. This is another one of those series that the manga tube people that I watch really, really enjoy, and I hear a lot about it. I finally have the whole thing, so I intend on reading the whole thing in the year of 2022. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to experiencing this story about friendship. Next up is a title that I do have on my possibilities list to read in January for my TBR game, and that is A Witch's Printing Office. So this one, I have 2 volumes here. When I did my TBR game, I said I'd read 3 volumes because that is what I have in my collection currently. This one is by Mochinchi, art by Yasuhiro Miyama, published by Yen Press and rated teen. This one follows a woman who is pulled into an RPG style world, and she opens up a comic market. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. and I'm interested to see what I think and if I'm going to be collecting more of this series or just letting it go. Next up is Volume 1 of Carnival by Toya Mikanagi. This one is published by Yen Press and is rated older teen. I really don't know much about this series except for the fact that my daughter really loves this series. So I pretty much purchased this series for her. We are up to date with the publication. This is a bind-up, so there are 2 volumes in this one volume. And there's no summary on the back, so I can't tell you what it's about. But I did watch one episode of the anime a couple years ago. My daughter was trying to get me interested in the series, and it just didn't grab me at the time. I remember there being a fight on a train, and that's pretty much it. But my daughter, like I said, loves this series. She was so excited that this came out of the Grell jar during my Manga Advent Calendar project. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of this one and revisiting it, and hopefully I'll really enjoy it. And yes, so that's that one. And then this is a beloved series in my household. I will be reading Volume 1 of Yowamushi Pero by Wataru Watanabe. This one's published by Yen Press and rated teen. This one is about a high school biking club. We have watched all of whatever is out in the anime several times of this series. Really, really love it. Have not yet started the manga. It is still publishing, and where they are at in publication is not new material from what we've already seen in the anime. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what I think. The art style is very, very different from what I've seen in the anime. So I'm wondering how I'm going to enjoy that. Also, right around the time I pulled this out of the Manga Advent Calendar tag, the next season of this anime was announced, and so I'm really looking forward to that. It's been quite a while since the previous season was released, and so yes, super excited for this one. Next up is another possibility for my reading in January, and that is Mermaid Saga Volume 1 by Rumiko Takahashi. This one is published by Viz, rated older teen. This one is complete in 2 bind-up volumes. This is the first bind-up volume, so I will be reading the entire thing. This one is set in a world where eating mermaid flesh makes you immortal, and we follow a guy who has unknowingly eaten mermaid's flesh, and so he has become immortal, and now he wants to try to find a way to become human again, and crosses paths with this woman and wonders if she holds the answer to making him human again. I have watched most of this anime, so I am a little bit familiar with this story, but it has been several years. So I don't quite remember a lot, but I do have the anime. So when I read this, I will be watching the anime as well and revisiting that, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. The last title I have is Magus of the Library, Volumes 1 and 2 by Mitsu Izumi. This one is published by Kodansha and is rated teen. This says, based on Kafna of the Wind by Sophie Schwim, translated by Hiroto Hamada. So this is a kind of retelling, I guess. And it follows a guy who loves to read, but because he's poor, he isn't allowed to use the village library, which sounds horrible. Just because you're poor, you can't use the library. That's what the library's for. Anyway, he ends up getting a chance to meet Kafna, a librarian who works for the Great Library of Afsak, and his life changes forever. So this has been a series that I've been really interested to read. Obviously, we have a character here who loves to read, and who doesn't love to read about characters who love to read. And so I have 2 volumes here. I do have 3 volumes in my collection, so I'm pretty sure that I will end up reading the 3 volumes and then deciding whether or not I am going to continue to collect this series. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. So that completes everything that I have as priority reads to read in 2022. I have restacked them, so they're 2 shorter stacks now, so you can't really see them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all of those things that I had just shared with you. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these and what you thought of them, but please no spoilers. If nothing else, and you would just like to let me know that you were here, if you could click that thumbs up button and leave a book emoji or a book stack emoji down in the comments below. That would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. The book stack is for our lover of books from Mages of the Library. And so that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.